Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages. This is Jesse with the Common Nerd, bringing you pop culture and all things nerdy through a common sense lens. And just when you thought Marvel might be done with all of their identity politics nonsense, we get more of the MCU coming in the Disney Plus series Ironheart that is coming here very shortly. But I guess, is it technically MCU if it's a drag queen? Because yes, ladies and gentlemen, Ironheart is going to introduce you to Marvel's very first drag queen. And I know this video will probably not get very much traction in the algorithm because nobody cares about Ironheart, but because I am an absolute insane psychopath who has decided to suffer through Ironheart series and review it and watch it with you guys out there, as well as make my co-host Sunker Maiden suffer through it as well. I just figured we had to do this video and talk about it because, ladies and gentlemen, Sunker and I are in for one hell of an abysmally bad roller coaster with this show, and this is just the latest red flag for exactly how bad this thing is going to be. And ladies and gentlemen, I just hope it's bad enough that we can laugh and ridicule it, and that we won't just have to suffer and want to poke our eyes out with very, very sharp and dull pencils all at the exact same time. So we're going to check out this article over here from cosmicbook.news because, as you can see here from the headline and the wonderful picture, first look at the MCU's drag queen in Ironheart. And no, ladies and gentlemen, this is not just going to be a blink and you miss it kind of cameo situation. No, this character is an integral part of the team, is even playing a Robin Hood-esque character. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, Marvel is introducing its first drag queen in a Robin Hood-esque character. We're getting our first Robin Hood drag queen, ladies and gentlemen, and it's brought to you by Disney Marvel. So we're going to check out this article from cosmicbook.news, getting all of the juicy details and see exactly what is going on with this. But before we do, if you do enjoy our content, hit that like button, share with all your friends, and subscribe or follow if you have not already, boys and girls, because we just crossed 2K. We're on our way to 2,100. I think we're at like 2026, and I could not do that without every single one of you. Also, leave us a comment in the section down below. What do you think about this? Because I have full disclaimer. Do you think this will actually end up being a distraction for the show? Do you think this is something that is overemphasized, or this just will actually end up being a character out there who won't overemphasize it, and it'll just be a part of their history and backstory? Or do you think this is something that's going to be constantly thrown in your face over and over and over again, like we have seen so many times with the agenda and Disney Marvel? Let us know what you think about all this in the comment section down below. And of course, if you'd like to support the channel, please check out the links in the description and think about becoming a member. We'll get your name at the end credits of every single one of these videos. All right, from cosmicbook.news and our dear sweet Matt McGloin. And full disclaimer, who knows? Maybe this character won't end up being annoying. Maybe this character will end up being wonderful and fabulous, and we'll all end up loving them, and it'll be the best part of the shining of the show. But at the end of the day, I highly doubt that, because I'd imagine this person was hired based on immutable characteristics and not their actual acting talent. But hey, they're a drag queen. Maybe they can't actually act. We'll see what happens. Remember back when it wasn't, drag queens weren't always just a weird thing. It was just kind of a funny thing. Yeah, kind of weird how that ended up working out, huh? The MCU has its first drag queen. Check out the look at Shea Coulee in Marvel's upcoming Ironheart series coming to Disney Plus. And as you can see, that's the picture right there. And yeah, pretty obvious. The entire look just screams giant flamboyantness. I mean, I think that's pretty obvious. I mean, it's literally like seeing the pictures of Russell T Davies and Nakuti Gatwa together when they were publishing. You know, he's got that giant open vest freaking shirt or jacket, and they're just cuddling on the red carpet. Yeah, it's kind of weird. It's the exact same kind of thing here. So here we go, boys and girls. You'll be seeing the diva in some looks. The Chicago-based entertainer told Entertainment Weekly, referring to Slug, a fierce hacker and key supporting character in the next chapter of Ryan Coogler's Black Panther Disney Plus spinoff. Because yes, ladies and gentlemen, this spinoff is definitely a Black Panther spinoff, because that's where we saw Ironheart for the first time. And so, of course, they're using it to introduce Marvel's first drag queen. Boy, I wonder why Disney Plus is releasing the first 3 episodes all at once, and then there's only 6 episodes, and this whole thing will be over in a month. I wonder if it has to do anything to the fact that they know this thing is going to fail miserably, and they want it over as quickly as possible. Yeah, I'd imagine so, but hey, Entertainment Weekly and Disney Marvel's all about promoting and making sure you know that there's going to be a drag queen in this show. What a joy. Gangsters turned activists. Yes, because Ironheart hangs out with a bunch of criminals and gangsters and does some very shady, morally gray things, even though we're all supposed to believe she's the hero of the story, where even in her comic book origins, she's literally nothing more than a thief that steals from Tony Stark and tries to make her own version of things. Yeah, part of the Marvel Now initiative. No, it didn't go over very well in the comics, just like this series isn't going to go over very well. Anthony Ramos previously revealed that the plot of Ironheart centers around gangsters turned activists. Coley backs that up. I help a group of urban Robin Hoods to take away from the privileged and help give back to the community. Oh, yes, boys and girls, once again, completely and totally perverting the actual story of Robin Hood. Because Robin Hood was stealing the government, who was overtaxing its citizens and giving the tax money back to the citizens that the government stole it from. No, he wasn't stealing from private individuals or private successful business folks. No, no, no. He was stealing from the government. But of course, that part always gets overlooked in the story because stealing from the rich and giving to the poor makes a much better socialist headline now, doesn't it, boys and girls? I'm here to help out all the missions that go down, trying to shift this power dynamic in this version of Chicago we see in the show. Oh, yes, they're all going to be oppressed. They're all going to be held down by, most likely, the white man. And, of course, they'd have to push back of that. Of course, one of those white men includes Tony Stark, because even though he's dead, well, that's still who you're trying to rip off. And they're not trying to make something that Riri's not trying to make something to help people. No, she's simply trying to make something iconic that will make sure she's remembered. It's all me, me, me. Not exactly the hero out there trying to go out there and save other people. And of course, pronouns will be very prevalent. Coley's MCU character also apparently uses pronouns. From my understanding, this version of Slug they're presenting as someone who's being referred to as a code name. I don't want to give too much of their backstory away. They need an alternative code name to go by because there could or could not be some people looking for them. Now, could that just be the slip of the tongue by the actor? Possibly. But at the end of the day, would it surprise anybody if they're, because drag queens aren't just men dressing up in women on the weekends because they want to feel pretty. No, no, no. Everybody's got to be non-binary and have pronouns instead of actually being their biological birth sex. Well, we're probably going to end up being exactly that. I doubt this was a slip of the tongue. I doubt this was them accidentally screwing up. I'm sure we're going to get full-blown now non-binary, they, them pronouns kind of garbage throughout the entire of Ironheart. And it's going to be so cringe. I just hope when we review it, it's laughable enough to do it. So make sure you join us on Thursday nights as we roast Ironheart and review it, so at least we can say, yes, we did indeed watch it, and yes, while we're roasting it, we can absolutely be honest, because this thing is going to be a hot pile of steaming dumpster fire garbage, and ladies and gentlemen, I can't wait for you to watch it with us. The drag queen is also part of the character and plot. They've kind of left drag. They are a drag queen, but it's kind of a past life. You see them in drag, but it's kind of the context of flashbacks before where they are now, because they're trying to be on the low. So needless to say, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get flashbacks, and in a series that only has 6 episodes, unless they're once or twice, it's literally going to be something that's probably going to end up feeling very, very overblown and overdone. So on June 24th is when this premieres. It's next week, ladies and gentlemen. So next Thursday night will be the first time Sunker Maid and I watch all 3 episodes of Ironheart with all of you guys together on Is It Good? Introducing Disney Marvel's very first drag queen, ladies and gentlemen, and I, for one, could not be possibly more excited. I guarantee you, I am far more excited for this show than Disney Marvel is, because otherwise they wouldn't be so very desperately trying to drop all the first 3 episodes all at once to try to, in a desperate attempt to get some kind of relevance on the Nielsen ratings, as well as all of the rest of the somber ratings and everything else out there, so they can try to go out there and do some kind of marketing PR spin saying that this show was an absolute success because it charted for its first 3 episodes that they released all at once. I guarantee you, even if that trick does actually work, like it's worked with Echo and a few other shows in the past, well, needless to say, it's going to be an immediate drop-off afterwards, and ladies and gentlemen, we will continue to roast it from a very honest place as we watch this abysmal dumpster fire of identity politics from a very much failed comic book run that was nothing more than identity politics garbage and tried to force an agenda and force a change that the audiences and the fans of the comics out there did not want. Ironheart failed miserably in the comic books, and it will fail miserably in the Disney Plus's MCU as well. It's a perfect addition to cap off the MCU in its absolute entirety, and boys and girls, it is just more of the exact same kind of garbage to come, because Fantastic Four is going to end up being the exact same way. It's going to be a Sue-centric story where it's going to be all MCU running forward, and ladies and gentlemen, Ironheart is just the latest example that the MCU is not dead by a long shot, and it will continue to go down in flames as things go forward. Ironheart is going to fly flop and fail, just like all of the rest of the Disney Plus shows have continued to go down in the ratings over and over again. Dropping 3 episodes all at once will not help you, because at the end of the day, we know the truth, the audience decides, and the fans are not going to show up to Ironheart. And I, for one, cannot wait to roast it. After all, Marvel, you've danced with the devil, now you've gotten burned, and it's exactly what you deserve.